Hello and welcome to the Hobbies and Happiness podcast, where we talk all about the hobbies that make us happy. I'm one of your hosts, Dan.
And I'm Jim. And today we're talking about the future of organized play. Let's get into it.
Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
Didn't see you there.
Hey, guys. Welcome.
We're on video. This is weird.
Yeah. It's not that weird, Dan.
This is our first video podcast. We finally got our set up and running, and dude, I'm excited, man.
It's beautiful.
I am stoked. Yeah. I love this wood. It's just, oh man. You know what, dude? I gotta. First of all, I have got to give props to my wife. My wife helped make this this shelf look very, very nice. She honestly, she didn't even put in a lot of work. She just really looked at it and was playing around with it, and it looks really, really good. If you're just listening to the podcast, guess what? Now you can watch it.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet, dude. We're stoked. Yeah. So yeah, man. So this is episode 16. But it's we're saying this is episode 1 of the video podcast.
This is episode 1, video podcast. It's either 16 or 1.
Yeah, 16-1.
16-1.
Everything before it was just -0. Now we're everything's -1 now. Yeah. So anyway,
we're on patch 1.2 right now. Yeah. That's what we're on. 16.1.
Yeah. So today we just had the 4th of July holiday. Yeah. So did you have a good 4th? You have a good holiday?
Yeah, it was fun. Got to hang out with my dad, watched a movie, hung out with my girlfriend, and yeah.
What movie did you watch?
Oh man, we got to watch The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt, Star-Lord.
So what did you think of that movie?
I was a fan of it. I really did like it a lot. I gave it a 7.5 on a 10 scale. Yeah. And the ending, they had some really good twists in there. They had some really funny moments. They had serious ones as well. It took you all over the place in terms of emotions.
Yeah, it really did. And when the movie first started, I was a little confused at kind of where it was going. And then, and then as the movie got going a little bit, I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. It's kind of awkward. Yeah. But as I kept watching it, I'm like, probably towards the middle of the movie, right? Mm-hmm. There was a part where in a normal plot line, they would be the end of it, right? So I'm trying to talk around it.
I don't want to talk about it because I'm just gonna be spoilers, guys.
I don't want to give too much away. But I do want to say
it's on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
If you have Amazon Prime,
it is on Amazon Prime. Go check it out.
I do recommend it.
So, but when the movie got towards the end, I found myself being like, dude, this is an awesome movie. Yeah. It was fantastic. Yeah. I really, really loved it. I loved the message that it said. The only thing I will say is it is a movie about family.
Yeah.
So that's really what it was about. And so for it was a message that I could get behind. So I really did like it. And Chris Pratt, I feel like any movie that he's in is good. Is a good movie.
This one, I haven't seen all of his movies. I don't know if he's done a lot of movies, but I've seen this. I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy. All the Marvel stuff that he's been in.
You've seen the Jurassic Park movies?
Oh yeah, those were great. Yeah. Oh man, I love those ones.
I think those. So the first Jurassic Park movie he was in Guardians of the Galaxy were the ones that really propelled him to stardom. Because before that, he was in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, Parks and Rec.
Yeah, he was kind of like the doofy guy.
Yeah.
But he was fat and out of shape in that movie. But he was hilarious in Parks and Rec. We love Parks and Rec.
Was that his first TV stuff? Because I know before that, he was a door-to-door salesman.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. And apparently he was really good at it. So.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I feel like he's the kind of guy where anything he puts his mind, anything he does, he's just going to be really good at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Good job, Chris.
Yeah, good job. We both give it 2 thumbs up. So yeah.
1 and a 3/4.
I give it 2 thumbs up. I do. I give it 2 thumbs up. I just want that on the record. I gave it 2 thumbs up. All right.
It was good.
It was good. It was good. All right. So today in the podcast, we are talking all about the future of organized play. So what does that really entail? Well, really, we're kind of going to be touching on 2 games, Magic the Gathering and Flesh and Blood. Okay. So Team Covenant actually did a podcast kind of on this topic not that long ago. I believe it was actually last week. And as I was listening to it, this was a topic that I wanted to talk about kind of for a while. So we just decided that we were going to do it on this episode.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a good time, mostly because like Wizards of the Coast has really shifted what Magic is doing
That's for sure.
with their pro scene and organized play, like heavily over the past couple of years.
Some would say, what pro scene now?
Well, yes, right. And
Spoilers, guys.
Yeah, and we're going to get into it. So, okay. So, Jim, I know you have more experience with this kind of stuff than I do.
a little bit of a history.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of a history with it, right? Mm-hmm. So, first of all, I kind of want to talk about like the old structure of how the pro scene used to be for Magic. Okay. Yeah. So the path to pro, like I'm going to put it in quotation marks here, for Magic, what it used to be was Magic the Gathering used to have what's called the Pro Tour.
Yes.
So that was Magic's pro scene. Okay. Yep. So, and essentially it was just professional players it was all they did was they played Magic. I mean, I'm sure if you're not involved with Magic heavily, this probably a lot of this is going to be new to you, which is fine. But if you are, you're probably at least a little. You know probably about the World Series of Poker, right? Yeah. There that's another game to where there's a pro scene where
I like
that's
watching
all
that one too.
That they all I love watching World Series of Poker. WSOP that is fantastic.
The old guy in the cowboy hat, that guy's really good. He's been there for a long time.
I feel like there's always an old guy with a cowboy hat playing poker.
If you guys know about the World Series of Poker, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what we're talking about, but this is just for Magic, okay?
Yes.
So the Pro Tour, the first Pro Tour was in 94. 1994 at Gen Con 94 was the first Pro Tour, okay? So the Pro Tour, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but the whole way that it was designed was it was a professional system that was kind of designed around points, like a point-based system.
Oh, you're talking about for after their games and whatnot? Mm-hmm. Okay,
yeah. So if you took place in an event, you would get X many points based on how well you did in the event. Mm-hmm. And then your ranking based off of that would determine kind of your placement in the Pro Tour.
Yeah. So, but also you would get pretty much invited to the higher tournaments. Mm-hmm. So you would have to go to regional tournaments. Yeah. You could also do higher end local tournaments as well.
Yeah.
And you would get points off of that. And eventually there can be a regional to where the top 4 players could get an invite to the Pro Tour.
Okay.
So then they would then be allowed to go into there, even if they didn't have enough points, but they were able to win that tournament, get the invite. So you could even not win the tournament. You just had enough points to get into it.
Yeah, and again, correct me if I'm wrong too, but that whole system, again, it was basically it ran from 94 to 2018. It kind of went unchanged.
Yeah,
right?
It was like that for a very long time.
For a long time, yeah. So I mean, they had so the way it kind of worked was these regional tournaments. They had PTQs, correct?
Yes.
So PTQ stands for Pro Tour Qualifier, right?
Yes.
So if you did well in those events, the points you acquired from those events would kind of go into kind of your placement for that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe also at those tournaments is where you would get the invite to. Mm-hmm. So it would be that or regional tournaments, things along those lines.
So in researching this topic, what I kind of did was I pulled info from a lot of articles, which I'm going to link all of these articles in the description of the video and the show notes for the podcast. So if you're at all interested, take a look at these links, and then all the information is going to be there. So if you're interested to see what the system used to be, go ahead and take a look at those links, and they're all going to be there. And as I'm saying that, I'm actually looking at the Wikipedia entry for the Pro Tour. Okay. So from 94 to 2018, I think traditionally the payout for these, right? If you placed first in the Pro Tour is 50,000.
Okay.
And it looks second place was 20,000. Third and fourth, 15, fifth to 6, 10, and then it goes all the way down to 1,000.
So like throughout those years, it was always a constant at that point?
That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
So
I was gonna say, to be a pro player.
and I will read this this kind of paragraph here, but what they say is in Pro Tour Philadelphia 2005, a different payout system was tested. The tournament was run using triple elimination, with a draw counting as a loss for both players, and each match was run with money at stake. The amount of money earned by the winner of the match increased from $100 in round 1 to $1,500 in round 12. This system had the result of distributing the money more evenly among competitors, but the top finishers earned significantly less money than they would have under the old system.
Right.
This was in 2005, and then they say that the layout was largely criticized by players and internet writers and has not returned since. And of course, now since we're going to get on into completely different system,
A really good system.
So okay, that's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And so that being said, like that kind of system allowed players to really be a professional Magic the Gathering player.
Yeah. If you won a single one of those every single year, and Pro Tours, I think they were having like 4 every single year. Because you pretty much had one every single set drop. Well, more recently.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was like back in the day.
I did not really get into that too much.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm going to see what I can find here real quick.
So yeah, they were having a Pro Tour, we'll say like 4 times every year. So if you were to win one of those, and if you're winning the $50,000, and you do terrible for the rest of the year, if you win it, you got $50,000 for the year, and then whatever else trickles in.
Yeah. So I mean, as you can see,
which isn't terrible.
Well, this kind of system, like it really that allows for the ability for people to really make this a possibility. Like make living as a pro an actual possibility. Like you can actually do that.
Yeah.
So that's how it used. Again, this was how it used to be. Okay. And if you're a little new to this, you're probably like, well, here's how it used to be. Why would they change something like that? What did they do? So, okay. So that system, like we said, it ran until 2018. Okay. Yeah. So then came 2018. All right. So there was an article, okay, written by Wizards in December of 2018. Okay. So in 2018, what they essentially did was they decided that the Pro Tour was no longer. So they made a change to the system from Pro Tour to what they called the MPL. It was the Magic Pro League. So that's just basically what they did was they just changed the name a little bit, and they made a couple other minor changes, right? And so in this article, there's 2 things that I kind of want to highlight here first, okay? So what they say, competitive gaming has always been at the heart of Magic the Gathering. The pure joy of having fun with friends across a table, and discovering new ways to be clever together is entwined with the thrill of competition, whether around the cafeteria table, in your friendly local game store, or the finals of the Pro Tour. 2019 is going to be the biggest and most exciting year in Magic's 25 years of competitive gaming history as we evolve our organized play program into an esports structure that takes the legacy of our pioneering tabletop system and integrate Magic's new digital platform, MTG Arena. That article was the start, and people saw the writing on the wall. I mean, I remember when that article came out, and people are like, in my opinion, they were legitimately freaking out that Wizards of the Coast is basically saying, hey, we have MTG Arena. Because at that point, I mean, Arena was in beta for quite a long time, quite a while. I remember when Arena was in beta, I was playing Elder Scrolls Legends, the Elder Scrolls card game. And I had heard about, and this was before I was playing Magic, right? Like tabletop Magic. I had heard about Arena, and I had heard a couple people in the Elder Scrolls Legends community basically not saying anything good. They were saying nothing good about Arena and how the UI was terrible, which, I mean, back in the day, it wasn't the greatest.
Yeah. I mean, that tends to be how it is, though.
Yeah, no, right. And that's, I mean, it's fair and also unfair at the same time.
Yeah.
But that's why it was in beta for such a long time. And that's totally fine. And that's exactly why it's in beta for that long, is so they can test it and put tweaks. And
also, how long was it until they gave a friends list?
Oh my God.
It was forever.
It was a long time, man. I feel like that came out last year, I feel like in 2020.
So yeah, it was 2 years. So, you know, in Magic, you want to play these games against your friends, you know, and then it's like, oh, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
I remember because when I first started, like, that was one of the biggest complaints. They were like, I want to play with my friends, but I can't. I'm like, how? Like, it boggled everybody's mind. Like, how is that not? How is that not one of the first things that you implement?
Yeah, I know.
It made like no sense.
So, oh man, it was rough. It made no sense to me.
It didn't. It made no sense to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, how many people out there don't even go to like professional tournaments or higher tier tournaments or even a locals at that point?
Right.
I mean, we actually do kind of have the number now. So 90% of people have not gone to a local tournament or higher.
90% of
Magic players for paper.
Okay.
So yeah, the fact that it is that high, right? They're playing against their friends, Dan. They're playing 90% of Magic players don't have anyone else to play as other than family members and friends.
Well, and that would be why Commander is such a big format. Like,
it is.
But that's what those numbers would say to me.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like,
which is why Commander is their biggest format.
Yeah. And that's why they're leaning so heavily into it.
Oh, now they are, yeah.
Yeah, so
Commander in every single set now, pretty much. They're like,
so right now with Magic, they're I don't know if if the entire set has been revealed yet, but we're in the middle of spoiler season for the next set, which is Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. It's a Dungeons and Dragons themed set, which a lot of people are excited for.
Yeah, it's got some really cool stuff. It's got a lot of bad stuff too.
It does. But honestly, I think why a lot of people are, in my opinion, legitimately excited for this is mostly the flavor.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like,
Dan, if I see another 4 mana ETB roll a D20, I'm just gonna lose it. Like, there's so many 4 mana drops to it. I'm just like, I can't.
There are, but again, I think people are looking at that and saying the flavor.
I don't care.
Of roll. Like, if you're a D&D player, you're probably looking at it and like, oh, this is so cool, and you're more a D&D player.
I'm like, I roll enough dice in D&D. I don't need to bring it over here, man.
That's an interest. Yeah, I mean, that's legitimate. That's a legitimate point. Yeah, I didn't really think about it like that.
Yeah. And I get that they don't want to make it too broken because the game's already RNG based. They don't want to make it to where like, oh, 1 mana, roll a D20, this effect, you get to like draw 2 cards off of like a creature as well. And it's just like, and you already have enough.
And there's quite a few cards. Well, I believe there's a few cards in there where it's not an ETB, it is an activated ability where you can then roll a D20.
That's sorcery.
Yeah. So yeah, you don't like the roll d20 mechanic?
I'm not a fan. I don't like that much RNG when it comes to it.
Oh, so you love Hearthstone?
I play that very little, very little.
When's the last time you played Hearthstone?
Start of Dragon. I don't know what the order is. It's been like 2 years. I tend to I'll like log in once a year or something like that. And I'll be like, oh man, I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm just done within a week. I can't play this.
I don't blame you. There was a reason I stopped playing.
I do also think it's partially because it's just an online card game like that. Yeah. I just always have preferred paper because I've been doing it since like the 90s with Pokemon.
Yeah, and I started playing card games mostly digital, and that was kind of how I preferred it. Yeah. But now since I've really got heavily involved in the tabletop, there's nothing comes close to it. Yeah. Absolutely nothing comes close to it. And for the hardcore Magic players, people who've been playing it for a long time, like that's exactly what they think. And that's why when this article came out, that's why people were so frustrated and they were legitimately upset because they knew where this thing was going. Yeah. So in this article, so this article essentially, so for the community, this was the beginning of the end for a lot of people in the MTG community.
There were a lot of pros that were like, I'm not going to another thing that is officially by Wizards of the Coast. They were going to Star City game tournaments only, which is a sub thing. But yeah, a lot of pros were just like, screw this.
Yeah, because a lot of people looked at that and said, okay, I've been a pro player for a long time. And essentially what Wizards is doing is they're looking at the pro scene and making a value assessment and saying to themselves, we can make more money off of these streamers who are showing all these other people the game than we can off of these pro players that are playing the game, which, okay, like as a business-minded person, I can understand that. Yeah. I honestly can understand it, but it sucks.
But they have also...
It sucks. It's so bad.
I know, it sucks, Dan.
It's so bad. But like, I get it. At the same time, I get it. I understand. But I don't like it. I don't have to like it. Yeah. I can understand it, but I don't have to like it. I'm not going to like it.
I hope they do not just like destroy paper Magic and just go full...
I know.
And
that's where a lot of people are thinking right now. That's where a lot of people are thinking. That's what's scaring a lot of people. So all right. So again, this article, December 2018. Okay. So there's a couple other things that they specifically say in this article. Okay. One of the things that they say, this is a legit sentence in here. Start building your skills and your reputation today by playing MTG Arena. It's like, I get it. I get it. Arena is your new thing. It's your new client. It's the easiest thing. Like, it's the easiest way to get people to play your game. And it's the easiest way to get people to spend money to play your game. I get it. I understand. And we've talked about this. And this is exactly why we're doing Hobbies and Happiness, right? This is exactly why we exist. And because we love the tabletop space so much, we want it to be here on the table. Yeah. Like, we don't want stuff to be on a screen, right? Yeah. We'd much rather connect over a table. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that we should just disregard all video games, because I think like it's a good tool to use for sure. It definitely has its place, but not at the expense of the table. Like, you know what I mean? And I think when companies start doing that, this space is in a scary spot. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people were thinking and were feeling. Yeah. All right. There's one other thing that they say here. So they say, we're making the change from Pro Tours to Mythic Championships. So they changed the championship names from the Pro Tour verbiage to they went to calling everything Mythic Championships. Because if you're not aware, the highest level rarity of cards in Magic is the Mythic. Yeah. So that's why they call it Mythic Championships.
Quick side note as well is they wanted to also get away from Pro Tour because people were just thinking it was for professionals. Why can't I words, Dan? Professionals.
Words are hard.
Yeah, because they thought the Pro and Pro Tour was for professional. It's for promotional.
Yeah.
Because it's what it would be titled is Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan. Pro Tour Kaladesh. It is promotional tour for Kaladesh, the set that just dropped. Yeah. That's what it is.
Well, and then
that's what it was.
Well, right. So, and that's good to know. I didn't know that. Right. I thought it was professional.
Yeah, no,
but that makes but now knowing that makes a lot more sense why they changed everything. Because going on these tours and making these tournaments, because a lot of these weren't everything is streamed now. Yeah. The old Pro Tours, they used to be on TV, right?
Yes.
They had to have been.
It had to have been.
So, like, I mean,
yeah, it had to have been.
The internet has changed so much. It might have been like pay-per-view or something. I don't know. Who knows? It could have been. Maybe. I don't know.
Is it on Cartoon Network?
DD. But that being said, that's a good point, because now the internet has shifted so many things. Technology is
a hell of a drug.
It is. And so with the internet, like how much the internet has changed everything, and that makes a little more sense now. So I can understand it. Again, don't like it, but I understand it. Okay, so as I was saying, what they said here was, we're making the change from Pro Tours to Mythic Championships to reinforce that competitive Magic is both digital and tabletop, and to make a clear distinction between the professional players in the Magic Pro League and the events that are open to the public. Okay, so let me take a look real quick at this article. So this was December 2018.
You know, I just had this thought. So the first Pro Tour was in 94, you said, right?
Yeah, at Gen Con 94.
Guys, they didn't have card sleeves. They were just over here like Ripple shuffling Black Lotus, all the Moxes, the Power Nines. They didn't care at all. These cards were in terrible condition. They're just like... you imagine that, just being the guy who like is shuffling and you just drop a Black Lotus on the give me a second, guys.
As you roll your chair over it.
20 years down the line, it's $500,000 or $250,000. Well, I mean, that one wasn't. That one was played, probably heavily played.
Oh my word, dude.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
Man, dude. And you've said that multiple times, but every time it's like, oh man.
I was like, did I bring this up before? I guess I did.
Dude, yeah. I cannot imagine that, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's rough.
Oh, my word.
It's also surprising to me that their Pro Tour was like a year away from their initial release date, because it came out in 93.
Yeah.
And their first Pro Tour was 94. Like, the popularity of that thing was probably ridiculous. I have no idea.
Well, I mean,
it
makes sense too, because, you know, it's a brand new game. They wanted to promote the heck out of it.
Yeah. It was the first of its kind, pretty much.
I
think there were like other random ones that were out shortly after it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty much the first.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so fast forward a year. Okay.
Yes.
So we get into August 2019. Okay. Right. And then there's an article entitled "The Future of Magic Esports." Okay. So yeah. This is where It goes from bad to worse, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
So
the worst part is, so like, as you're going on with these stories, I'm just like, I know where this ends. Because I know where we're at now. I'm just like, you got to be heckin' kidding me.
Yeah. But it's interesting to me just to go back and look at these articles, because I remember when these articles came out, and the whole community was a buzz, and people were talking like, what's going to happen? And where we're at now, what we're saying, what happened is what everybody said was going to happen.
Yeah.
And And Wizards was like, they were trying their darndest to not say what was going to happen.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because they don't want to tell anybody.
Yeah, they don't want to be like, hey guys, all these cards you bought within the last 10 years, just throw it out the window.
So this article, what I say, August 2019. Okay, this article starts off like this. Okay, 2019 has been a big year for Magic esports. We created a new level of play and professional support with the Magic Pro League, the MPL. We doubled the prize pool for Magic, making it one of the biggest in gaming. We added all new ways to play and watch the best strategy game on the planet with the introduction of Magic the Gathering Arena. And the results have been terrific. More people are playing Magic than ever, and viewership of Magic on channels like Twitch and YouTube has more than doubled in the last 12 months. Magic fans have never had as many opportunities to play, qualify, and watch Magic as they have had in 2019. Next sentence right here. But we see room for improvement. That's what they are hide. That's what they hid behind it, if you ask me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're like,
if I give the finger, will you like bleep it out?
They say Magic is growing on both tabletop and arena, and we need a competitive structure that can grow with it. What was wrong with the structure before? What was wrong with the tabletop structure before?
The thing that was wrong is that 90% of people weren't going to these tournaments that they were putting a bunch of money into or watching it.
Yeah.
That was the problem. Yeah. And now they're like, well, our arena's doing great. People don't have to leave their house to go do this. And they're going to drop 100 every set. So in this article is when they introduced the Rivals League. They're like, the Magic Pro League has a clear path to pro with the addition of a new Rivals League. Immediately, people were so skeptical of this, if I remember. They were like, okay, so now there's two different leagues. Yeah. You have the MPL and the Rivals League. People were so confused. Everybody was so freaking confused. I ain't going to lie to you. I don't even think I know the difference.
I don't, dude. I read through all this, and they have so many graphics.
I'm like, is this still a thing, the Rivals League?
No.
I didn't think so.
Nothing is. There's nothing anymore. Oh, wait. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Spoilers.
Okay. So I'm going to see if I can even find it because I think it was this article. Okay. So, dude, this article is so freaking confusing. They have like 6 graphics of trying to explain how all these tournaments work together. It's okay. It's So they even said, to make it easier to follow, we've broken the news down into sections. The Magic Pro League and Rivals League, the MPL Gauntlet, player rankings, Tabletop Magic Players Tour, arena tournaments, the partial season, the World Championship. They made it so confusing, and that was one of people's big complaints. Yeah. And I don't blame them. It was so hard to follow. But here they spread it, like they separated tabletop and digital. And so I think this was the article. It might not have been. But they were essentially they said multiple times, like, tabletop is not dead. We're not they didn't say we're not giving up on it, but they've made it clear from the get-go since like 2018 that the path forward was arena and digital. And like, I get it. Like, the future's digital. Yeah. Yay. Sure. Woohoo. But it's all started on a table, and a lot of people get the feeling that they're going to get rid of it. And that's what people are scared of.
I don't think they're going to get rid of it.
No, I don't think either.
Because, again, they still have a very large community for paper. Sure, they might pretty much like get rid of the competitive scene on paper. But there are going to be other places that you can still play competitively. Okay.
Now, I should also note, so this article, this 2019 article, was right before COVID. Okay? Yes. And so fast forward a little bit to like November of 2020. Mm-hmm. And oh
man, are we about to get into a conspiracy theory, Dan? Is Wizards a part of COVID?
No,
they're a part of it.
No, but in November of 2020, there was an article by Jess Estefan
Okay.
I believe she was a pro. Is a pro. Well, I guess not is anymore. Was
Spoilers,
a pro.
guys.
Yeah.
They destroyed the pro scene. It is not a thing anymore.
Yeah, they did. All right, so yeah, there's this article on TCG Player Infinite written by Jess Estefan, a former Magic Pro player. I believe she actually started in the Rivals League. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's actually what happened.
Okay.
But so in this article, she was like trying to explain like the differences between the leagues and whatnot, and. Yeah, it was confusing. Everybody was so confused.
Well, one has rivals in it. The other one, no rivals.
So, but when they changed stuff up,
yeah,
it basically was like MTG Arena. It all starts here. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why did they do that? I mean, I know why, but it's like when you have something that it's the same but different, right?
Yeah.
With tabletop and arena. It's the same but different, but it was still everything evolved around arena, and now everything evolves around arena.
Yeah.
And like, why? And people didn't like it. People did not. The people who've been playing for a long time didn't like it. Like, if you're a relatively new player and this is like arena was how you played, you probably didn't really care as much. So around the time that article came out, it was kind of like pros were discouraged and confused.
Yeah.
Which I can understand. And I was too. I mean, I wasn't a pro, but I mean, I was just, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And I can understand when people were just, everyone else didn't have any clue. Okay. So now we fast forward to May of this year. Fast forward to May. Okay. There was they had an article. Let's see, what was the article titled? Yeah.
Buckle up, guys. Buckle up.
All right. So the title of the article was Esports, Transitions and Getting Back to Gathering. Okay. So that title is like a little hopeful, right?
Yeah.
Getting back to gathering. Getting
on
back
your
to gathering.
tablet, on your phone, with other people on their phone.
It's like, yeah, around the table, but on your phones, but on your tablets.
You know, they have a thing like that for Hearthstone. Their gatherings. Yeah, they have like these campfire or tavern gathering things that a bunch of people can go to.
Yeah.
I'd be so down to go to one of those. I don't even play the game, but I'd love to go to one.
I think I've seen those.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, this article, Pro Magic is dead. They killed it, and they totally buried the lead. They buried the lead in this article, and they even started off like back to the gathering, and they even say several years back we made a significant commitment to Magic esports. I think keyword there is esports.
Yeah.
Introducing the biggest prize pools we've ever had, creating some of the most thrilling events we've had to date, creating a professional level league, and incorporating digital play in unique and exciting ways that gave viewers a new way to experience Magic.
Yeah.
And now it's the only way you can experience professional Magic, basically. Correct? I mean, am I correct?
Pretty much. Like, there's nothing else going on right now.
And then they say, and just as we began forming plans to build on that promise with expanded reach beyond the most elite leagues, COVID sent us back to the drawing board. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Crawl behind COVID as an excuse.
Yep.
Like for Magic specifically, like I feel like COVID gave them the perfect cover.
Oh, I know.
It gave them perfect
That's what I'm saying.
cover.
Like, they're a part of it, 100% verified.
Okay, and so I have to scroll all the way down to the article.
Yeah.
Okay. Where is it?
I'm not even like, I wouldn't even say I'm a pro player. I've never been to this tournament. I've been a part of a few bigger tournaments, Star City Games, and like a bunch of locals, but locals aren't big tournaments. Star City Game is like one of the higher tier ones. I didn't do great. My first tournament, I was playing a burn deck. Yeah, of course I played burn deck. And I went 2-7.
Yeah.
I still beat 2 people though, right?
Yeah.
And but aside from that, one I did in Indianapolis, was it probably like 2 years ago now? Mm-hmm. And I ended up going 3-2. I thought it was 5 rounds. I don't know why I thought it was 5 rounds. And I didn't want my girlfriend to be waiting around for me. So I just went 3-2 drop. Like, I'm like, it's going to be going on for 3 more hours. I still want to hit the rest of the town with her. Like, we came out there on vacation. Well, we really just went there for my tournament. But, you know, I wanted to hang out with her more in the cute little city of Indianapolis. Yeah. If you guys have never been there, check it out.
Okay, so sorry, I if you're watching, like I wasn't. It might have looked like I wasn't paying attention. I was, but I was scrolling through this article. I'm trying to find exactly.
Trust me, Dan. That's why I'm talking right now. Okay, because I'm just gonna let you peruse through the article.
Okay, so in this article, and there was one sentence in here that everyone was talking about when they came out with this article, and basically what they said was, digital is here to stay. Yeah, digital play is here to stay, but is only part of the equation. We've seen great players rise from the digital ranks, and we've seen what's possible with digital events. Yeah. Expect the future to hold a mix of digital and in-person events. Yeah. So there's this one other sentence that I can't find, but I know I copied it.
Okay. Can you do a Control F?
Yeah. So players will not be competing for another league season. Instead, they'll be competing for a place in the World Championship. No, and this will be the final season for the Magic Pro and Rivals leagues. Boom.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
There it was. No they completely buried that. Yeah. They buried that in the article. But yeah, it's gone. It's dead. In place is all the digital events. Yeah. Because that's what they're pushing, because that's where they make their money.
Yeah. And all the pro people that got out of it back in 2018, they're like, screw this. Yep. You know, they saw the BS that was going on, and they're like, adjust into something else.
Yep.
So
And I don't blame them one bit. Don't blame them at all.
No. Another thing about it. So I am for competitive paper Magic, right? I'm very pro for that. And at first I was like, you know, tournaments for the online, the virtual card games is like, you know, it's not for me, but I also understand it a bit more because you can't really cheat. There's a lot of cheating in higher stake Magic tournaments. Like there's a lot of people that have been banned for multiple years, sometimes even lifetime bans if they just keep doing it. Yep. And so, you know, a lot of people are getting cheated out of money, or it's just, you know, whatever it is, whatever. It's
I get like that makes sense.
And there's also a meta in paper Magic. Yeah. In the exact same format, right? In the exact same format of standard on Arena and standard and paper. Like very different formats. Yeah. It really
all goes into where you play.
Yeah.
It's all about where you're playing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so weird. Like the way the meta shifts just from one place to another it's crazy.
Also, so I was looking up information on like whatever video game I was playing semi recently, and what they said for meta was most efficient tactic applicable. That is meta.
Okay.
I learned that the other day. I was like,
that makes sense. Huh. That makes sense.
But also the game within the game. I wish I knew that for when we talked about meta on the podcast. Yeah. So if you guys have been with us since that episode, whatever it was, most efficient tactic applicable.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's a good way of thinking about it for sure. Yeah, that's cool.
That's exactly what it is too.
Okay, so let's shift away from talking about Magic for a second. Yeah. Okay. So we just we're like so down on Magic, like pro Magic, and legitimately so, because it's dead. It's gone now. Yeah. Like, and honestly,
from Wizards,
right.
So Star City games are still going to be a thing.
Yeah, I'm sure Channel Fireball is going to be going to do events too. And there's plenty. And the opportunities are there for other people to come in and pick up and say, like Star City Games, and say, okay, fine. If Wizards,
which is what I really like, because it allows other people to then start getting into.
Well, I mean, like any company or any organization can come in and set up their own tournaments like that. And when you're on a scale like Star City Games is, like it's perfect. Like I feel like Star City Games has a perfect opportunity here.
Yeah.
They have a perfect opportunity to come in and like the market is wide open. It's wide open for them to come in and just completely dominate.
I think now they are the biggest whenever they have their tournaments. They are the highest tier tournaments.
Yeah, they really are.
So
yeah, it's a perfect opportunity for just the market to completely shift. So, okay, so but let's shift from talking about Magic to Flesh and Blood. Okay, Flesh and Blood. Okay, just look at the name. Look at the name. Flesh and Blood. Okay, they lean heavily into it. Okay, so they even say, if you go to their website and go to Organized Play, they say Organized Play (OP) is an integral part of Flesh and Blood. Come meet like-minded gamers, connect with the local Fab community, and experience the joy of playing.
Fab stands for Flesh and Blood.
Of playing. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. I did say just Fab. Come experience the joy of playing great games in the flesh by participating in our OP program.
And sacrifice your own blood.
So like they highlight it. They're like, no, you come out in person. You come in the flesh and play this game.
Yeah. They really do care about the player interaction.
They care so heavily about the
locals as well.
They care about the tabletop community. And that's what our industry needs. We need companies like Legend Story Studios, the creators of Flesh and Blood, to really lean heavily into this space. I mean,
this game is great, by the way.
Oh, Flesh
I've
and
played
Blood
it a few times,
fantastic.
and I was like obsessed with it for a little bit not too long ago. And I bought like 2 or 3 boxes or something like that. I was just cracking stuff, getting like multiple decks ready, and it's a really cool one.
Yeah, and so Flesh and Blood, dude, like they lean so heavily into the into the tabletop space, which is fantastic, right?
Yeah, they're all about their local communities. So.
Yep, and they are. So if you're not familiar with Flesh and Blood, if you've never played Flesh and Blood, definitely check it out. Definitely check it out.
Especially if you're a fan of like RPG video games or video games in general or medieval fantasy, things along those lines. You got a bunch of different characters. You can be like a ninja, a warrior, an illusionist, a wizard. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's literally it's like one-on-one combat. Just in
I'm
cards.
a ninja fighting you as like a warrior or a guardian or something like that.
It's
and
really
ninjas,
cool.
Ninjas want to attack fast, not as like hard hitting as like a great axe or something. But the great axe is only going to swing like one time a turn. Where the ninja's just going to go off swinging a bunch. So
Flesh and Blood
very thematic.
It is very, very cool. Most recent set to date is Monarch.
Yes,
Monarch's a recent set that came out. So that's Flesh and Blood, just kind of like 1,000-foot view of kind of what it is. But so they even go on their website. One thing I really appreciate about Flesh and Blood is the way they talk about organized play. It all makes sense. It makes perfect sense, and they explain it. They explain it very, very well.
There's no beating around the bush with them.
No, there's not, and they explain it super well on their website. They've kind of got like 4 different tiers, and the way they say it is like tier 1 is skirmish. There's like armory events on demand. You can kind of play it anywhere, kind of like at your local LGSs and whatnot. Tier 2 is Road to Nationals and ProQuest. Tier 3 is the National Championship, and then what they're calling the Calling. And then the Tier 4, the highest level, is the World Championships and Pro Tour. So they show a graphic, which is pretty self-explanatory. But then they go in and talk about kind of each level, each tier, and kind of explain it into much more detail. So that's Flesh and Blood OP basics. So it's very basics, and we're not really going to talk about like very distinctly like each of these different tiers and whatnot. Like I said, we'll link everything here in the descriptions of these videos. And the show notes, so you can take a look for yourself, and I highly recommend you do that.
Oh, for sure.
because Flesh and Blood is fantastic.
The artwork is great.
Everything
the
about
cards are great.
Everything about that game is just is awesome.
Yeah.
It really, really is. And another cool thing is Channel Fireball has partnered with Legend Story Studios for the U.S. events. I believe they have 4 calling events. The calling events.
I didn't even know this. Is this the line that you were like going to wait to tell me or something, or is that a different one?
I think so. I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, Channel Fireball has been like
they're huge.
They've been heavy into Flesh and Blood stuff.
Wow.
They really, really have. So they have 4 events for the calling. Okay. They've got the calling Las Vegas in September 10th to the 12th, calling in Dallas Fort Worth in October. The next week they have calling Cincinnati. And then in November 5th, they have the calling Orlando and the national championship. So Channel Fireball is really going to be putting on a lot of the U.S. events for Flesh and Blood. So
that's pretty great.
Yeah. So that's pretty sweet. So I'm glad there's another company like Channel Fireball who's pushing this game. So there's another big game like on the level of Magic that isn't Magic. You know what I mean? So that's really cool. So if you're not familiar with Flesh and Blood, I mean, we're going to be playing it. I mean, it's just the thing about it is we need to get cards for it, and we have some.
We got some cards.
We've got some stuff.
I dabbled a little.
So bit. we will be playing that game on the channel.
Yeah.
So so check out our YouTube channel. We will be featuring that game in the future for sure. Not sure how much, but we definitely do want to be playing.
We're gonna crack a box on live stream. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna do.
So so that is that's Flesh and Blood. So those are the big differences here, right? Between kind of the OP structures for Magic.
We go from 2018 being like, we
got
Magic,
you. We got
Magic
you guys.
competitive
No,
thing.
we got you.
Wink.
Yeah.
Can you say that without winking? No.
No.
Yeah, we can. It'll still be a thing. Wink.
If you're listening, you just said wink without actually.
Yeah, I didn't
winking.
actually wink. Yeah. I just said wink.
Yeah. So, all right. So now we get to the point in the show where we talk about our featured Kickstarter.
Yes.
Featured Kickstarter for the for the episode.
Yeah. This one's really cool.
This is really cool. And did you know anything about it before we talked about it?
I just saw it. I'm like, I wanted to play it, honestly.
So this game is called Valor and Villainy, Ludwig's Labyrinth.
Yes.
So delve into the terrible labyrinth in this zany 1 to 6 player legacy style co-op game.
Yes.
So does it remind you of Gloomhaven at all? A little bit, like a little bit.
Yeah, very, very little. It actually reminds me more of Betrayal.
Oh,
so
okay,
Betrayal House of the Hill, because you have the little squares. You haven't played it, right?
No, but I'm a little. I'm familiar.
You have the little squares. You're figuring out what this labyrinth looks like, or the mansion that you're being a part of.
Yeah.
So that is pretty much the same thing. You know, you have different characters. You're fighting different creatures, and there's a lot of different stories inside of this game, along with Betrayal. Yeah. I think it's very hand in hand with how Betrayal works.
Yeah. So this game, I believe it's an expansion to a game that's already out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're also saying you could just play it straight up.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say an expansion, but you can play it with the base game, I guess.
It could be a base game, or you could add it to the other one.
Yeah. You can add it. You can add it or play it by itself. So it's a co-op game. It is a legacy game. There's a lot of really, really cool miniatures involved here. So it's a 1 to 6 player game. Okay. So you can play this by yourself. Okay. And they say it's about 25 minutes per player. So legacy games are so cool. It's really hard to talk about this game because we've only just watched the video and just kind of read a little bit about it. So we haven't really played it, obviously. So what we'll do, we will put links for the Kickstarter in the description. and as well the show notes. Okay, so there's 3 days to go. 3 days to go as of the date of this recording. So when this airs, it's actually going to be a day left. Yeah, I think there's only going to be a day left when this episode airs.
Day left, guys.
So they had a $50,000 goal. Right now they're at around $385,000 of the goal. They've got 3,400 backers. So if you're interested in a legacy style co-op game, check this game out. It looks really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Skybound Games is the developer.
Okay.
Here. Yeah.
Also with it, so since it's a legacy and you're playing as a specific character, you're making that character stronger throughout the game. Because in some other legacy games like Betrayal, you play as a house or the family, and every single time you go into the house, it's a different family member. But it could be like 20 years down the line, so it could be like a grandson or a grandmother, going down the line, and so. But with this one, you're playing as the character and you're making them stronger. You're adding to their stats, giving them random abilities, things along those lines, and you're just getting stronger for the next monster that you're going to fight. So at this point, it's pretty much an RPG and a tabletop game.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's really cool. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, I need this game.
Yeah.
I really wanted to get the base game as well, so now I might have to.
now that we've talked about it and I've shown it to him, he's like, okay, I'm probably getting back to this game.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
The art looks really cool. The miniatures look really cool.
Yes.
The art style is really, really interesting.
That's the thing I really
it's like a steampunk-esque vibe to it, so it's really, really cool. So check it out, definitely. And that's pretty much it. That's all we got for this episode. Video, I'm just saying it again. Hey, it's just it's pretty sweet that we finally got video. We're excited. I don't know about you, Jim, but I'm really stoked for the future of what we've got planned. So just stick around. Not for this episode, but just take a look at our channels and everything. Speaking of that, you can follow us on all the social media platforms. We are on Hobbies and Happiness. We have Facebook page. We finally have Twitter. Find us on Twitter, Instagram. At those platforms, it's hobbies.n.happiness, except Twitter, because Twitter's weird. Hobbies.n.happiness is too long, so it's just hobbies and happy. Yeah.
Hobbies and Happy.
So Hobbies and Happy. So that's what Twitter is.
We're about to not have a Twitter with that name.
So
it'll be in the link.
Everything is in the descriptions. All right, Jim, if people want to find you on the socials, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Morgan HNH.
Yep, you can find me on Instagram at Daniel.g.Campbell and Twitter at _DG Campbell. And again, like we said, all these are going to be linked in the show notes and the description, so take a look for those. And that's all we got for today. So Jim, thanks, that was fun.
It was great.
It was fun. So guys, appreciate it, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya.
See everybody.